I want to emphasize on the fact that it's a real problem. The extreme fatigue of the CP workers is real, and Transport Canada has, revealed that in the last 5 years, at least 7 accidents or incidents were caused by the fatigue of the drivers, of the conductors of those trains. So it's a real problem, but this government has no solution. Their only way to act is always ideological, always against the unions, always against the workers, and against the safety of Canadians. It's really sad. And it's another case where they are against the international law. There's a labor organization in Switzerland that recognizes that the right to strike is a fundamental right in modern societies. And once again, this government is going against the last decision of the Supreme Court and against the international law. On this side of the House, we think that the workers can organize, they can defend their rights, they can improve their working conditions, and it's not the job of the government to go against that, because it helps to build better communities. You hear the Conservatives always talking about the middle class and how they will defend the little guys of the middle class. But you know what? Middle class is mostly a creation of the labor movement in this country and all countries. Without the labor movement, you will have no middle class. So you want to defend the middle class, give the workers the tools to negotiate, to gain something in their collective agreement, and to make sure that they can work in safe places and that they will not put at risk the safety of the other citizens of this country. Mr. Speaker, give negotiation a chance. Give negotiation a chance, because right now we have a Conservative government that is always on the side of the employers and never on the side of the workers of this country. And they have a fundamental right to exert economic pressure and strike if they needed to force the employer to recognize some problematics and find solutions. The minister just said that a negotiated deal is always better than an imposition of anything. So why she's imposing a back-to-work legislation again and again? It's the 7th time the Conservatives will do that since they are elected in 2006. It's a bad habit that they have, exactly. It's a bad habit because every time they will take a side and break the balance of the powers between the two parties. So we are saying, give the workers a chance to negotiate and to exert their rights. And it was not a pause for an applause, it was a pause for I need a drink. And the Labour Minister just said that the recent decision of the Supreme Court had nothing to do with the right to strike. I contradict that, and guess what? I have a quote here from a Supreme Court judge in that decision a few weeks ago, and it's Judge Abella writing, and I quote, "Where good faith negotiations break down, the ability to engage in the collective withdrawal of services is a necessary component of the process through which workers can continue to participate meaningfully in the pursuit of their collective workplace goals. In this case, the suppression of the right to strike amounts to a substantial interference with the right to a meaningful process of collective bargaining." So this is exactly what the decision of the Supreme Court is about the fundamental right to exercise, some pressure on your employer to improve your working conditions. And if you refuse the right to strike to those workers, employees, you interfere with those fundamental rights. And this is exactly what this Conservative government is doing again and again. So it's a sad day, Mr. Speaker, because the right to strike in this country is under attack again and again. Unions were considered illegal organizations before 1872. We are asking ourselves, do they really want to go back at that point, at that time? Because every time when they can crush workers and their unions, they will do it. systematically. And they've done it with 525, 377. What is critical at this point with the CP issue is that when you have the threat of a back-to-work legislation under your head, why the employer would negotiate in good faith? Because he knows that their good friends in power in Ottawa, anyway, will, be on their side. They will force workers to go back to work. So then you don't have any reason to negotiate and go for a compromise. And it's our concern is also because the issue on the table of Canadian Pacific workers, it's a safety issue for everybody in this country. For the workers first and foremost, of course, but also for everybody. It's a question of too long hours of work and fatigue and extreme fatigue. And we're talking about workers that are conductors. They are driving trains, freight trains that can be 4 kilometers long. Can you imagine the consequence if the conductor or the driver is too tired to be really aware of the dangers or what is going on? And it's not only, the vision of the union. It's a problem that has been recognized by Transport Canada and even by the companies. Transport Canada own analysis of CP and CN employees' scheduling records from 6 different rail terminals across Canada concluded that on the timing and length of each shift assigned through an unpredictable on-call system, that extreme fatigue was rampant. In 4% of cases, employees were already extremely fatigued at the start of their shift. Imagine. Because they don't have enough hours to sleep. It's a shame. And this government is not acting to correct that situation. And Canadians should know that their safety is put at risk by that government. So we want that to change. 45% of employees became extremely exhausted during work, and nearly all, or 99%, were fatigued at least once during the month. And it was the same problem, the same issue, guess what? 3 years ago, when the employees of CP went on strike for a couple of days. And after that, of course, the Conservative government came here to vote a back-to-work legislation. And the workers at that time were promised that, we will fix that. We will negotiate, don't go on strike, we will fix that. 3 years later, it's the same story, the same problems are still there. Extreme fatigue is still a problem for the members of the Teamsters that are working for CP. And nothing has changed because we are back again here in the House of Commons talking about a back-to-work legislation. My guess, Mr. Speaker, is that in 3 years, we will be back again because the same issue will not be solved because there's no incentive for CP to solve the problem. And the Conservatives are not helping. The Labour Minister is not helping. For other attacks for safety issues, health and safety issues. So it's a sad day for democracy too, and it's a sad day for the workers of this country and the labor movement. And I think that the workers can count on the NDP to defend their rights because we will protect the freedom of negotiation and the collective negotiation. This is a value that on this side of the House we cherish and we care. The workers can know, I think, that in a few months they will have the opportunity to have the first social democrat, pro-worker, pro-union government in this country. Yes, Mr. Speaker. It's coming. It's coming.